In order to take advantage of that JSON mode, though, I now needed to make direct calls to either the OpenAI API or to the Azure OpenAI service. And that meant in version 0.4, I stripped out all of the LangChain framework that I was using. So LangChain, for those that perhaps haven't come across it, is a really popular framework for working with LLMs. And I think there are varying degrees of opinion on how helpful it is. I personally find it very useful for prototyping. They support hundreds of integrations with different services and different LLMs. And it makes it very easy to sort of chop and change between different combinations of those services and language models just to try some things out. But what I ran into, and I think what's probably common from a number of development forums that I've been in and had conversations in, is that you can only really go so far with LangChain, and that by its nature, because it's introducing a level of abstraction for working with those models, if you really need to get down into the detail and tweak that model to your exact requirements, it can end up getting in the way. And that was what I found with version 0.4 when I was trying to do things like take advantage of this JSON mode that was introduced. I just couldn't get the consistency of the outputs through LangChain, and so I decided to effectively rewrite probably about 50% of the code in Stride GPT at that point, to remove LangChain and just to go direct to the native API calls. And lastly,
yeah, sorry, just a quick one.
Yeah.
That was one of the questions I have on this, because I kind of feel a bit like that. I look at it and there's a lot of things that he adds, but there's a level of complexity. And also, if you start to coding those workflows yourself, I think you have a lot more power, a lot more capabilities in it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, again, it's really helpful at prototyping, and it definitely worked during, up to sort of version 0.3. I really didn't have a problem with it. And as someone who isn't, I'm not a developer by trade, having that ability just to put in, LLM and then define which LLM you wanted, and to be able to chop and change without really having to worry about the particular prompt formats or prompt templates that were being used, really helpful. But once you then go on to that next level of maturity and you're starting to ask some quite specific things, or you're getting very particular with what you want the model to return, that's where it gets a bit harder to work with LangChain. So I think I'm in the camp of there's definitely positives and negatives to its usage, and I think each person, each development team needs to decide whether it's going to work for them, or if they just want to roll up their sleeves and effectively just deal with the APIs directly rather than having that extra layer in the way.